Hi, I'm Carcino. Oh, let's talk about it. Let's talk about it.
No one knows Carcino and none of these.
There's so much going on in the world, and I'm just giving my 2 cents on it. Go in and do a raid at someone's house, but you don't have an arrest warrant for them. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome to my home. Welcome to the fortress. A lot of people have me believing that I am a fat guy because they see me sitting down in a chair. You don't really get to see my whole body. As you can see, as I'm in shorts, I am not a fat man. I'm sorry to burst your bubble. Keep breaking people's hearts, man. I know. I'm sorry. It's just my face. Y'all see me up close all the time. So I stood back. Now, what brings us here today? Well, what brings us here is something simple. Something unique and dynamic. And unbelievable. The New York Knicks is the reason we're here, ladies and gentlemen. Please understand, the New York Knickerbockers is why the fuss. For some reason, the New York Knickerbockers decide in their infinite wisdom, James Dolan, the biggest cancer to the franchise, their owner. If this man wins an NBA championship with this New York Knicks team, there will be nothing to stop him from doing it. It would justify everything he's done. Okay? This man went out of his way to bar Charles Oakley from Madison Square Garden. Now, why in the world would you think there will be a reason in hell for you to bar Charles Oakley from Madison Square Garden? Where on earth would that be acceptable? I know. Shocking, right? That they would do such a dastardly thing. But let's get back to basics on this. We need to speak on this because it pisses everybody off when they hear it and they don't understand. Charles Oakley is banned. This man said Charles Oakley isn't banned. Charles Oakley is still banned from Madison Square Garden, sir. When have you seen Charles Oakley at Madison Square Garden? How are you a true new Knicks fan and you don't know Charles Oakley is banned, like completely banned from Madison Square Garden? What are we doing here today? How do you not know that? I have to change my watch face to match my clothing. Charles Oakley has attended games on the road for the New York Knicks. But he is banned. I repeat, banned completely banned from Madison Square Garden. And just like a Knicks fan, continuously giving false information, keeps saying, no, he's not. Why haven't you seen him at Madison Square Garden? They can't tell you when he's been at Madison Square Garden. Why is everybody from the Knicks there except for Charles Oakley? Why isn't Oakley sitting somewhere in the stands in MSG? Because he's not allowed there. Why do you keep lying and saying that he is? This is the problem with Knicks fans. Y'all cannot process information. And that is why you don't know anything. Charles Oakley is still banned. Yes, he remains effectively banned from Madison Square Garden. While his initial 2017 ban legally lapsed, the ongoing feud with Oakley and Knicks owner James Dolan has ensured he remains absent from the arena, with Dolan refusing to let him, despite mediation efforts by Michael Jordan and the NBA commissioner Adam Silver. The situation remains deeply personal and contentious. That shows you the type of person James Dolan is. Dolan is going to hold on to a grudge because he's a very fickle man. I'm probably banned and I don't even want to go. Everybody knows how he is. He fired somebody that worked there just for looking at him and giving him a weird look. He didn't like it. James Dolan is a very particular human being. So I don't understand people who say they are real Knicks fans. Why are you rooting for a man that threw Charles Oakley out? Isn't Oak one of y'all guys? Y'all step right over Oak Tree, one of y'all official Knicks guys, right? You step over him so that y'all could do what? Who y'all wanted to promote? Let me guess. Jalen Brunson. That's who y'all like. That's your hero. That's your little butt buddy. Well, let me break it down to you and give it to you essentially so that you would understand this process. James Dolan don't like anyone challenging him. He's very particular in how he do business, the people he trusts, how he operates, how he moves. Oh yeah. Well, that's how people move. So when you see how people move and they get into a rut or they stuck in the mud, this is the divider here. Now, if y'all lose, it's gonna be. He's like Oakley. No, Dolan is a bigot. He's just a narcissistic man. He's a narcissistic owner. And the commissioner of the NBA, couldn't even change his mind. He's so well not liked, they had to bring Leon Rose in to alleviate James Dolan of being the face and having exposure. Dolan don't like it, so he starts going on podcast shows to talk. Because it's all about Leon Rose and not about James Dolan. Because he's gotten such a bad reputation in the NBA, nobody wants to deal with him. So they said, we want to promote the Knicks and push the Knicks, but we can't unless we put somebody in the presidency that can make decisions. We can't promote James Dolan. He's like inexcusable. A walking inexcusable man. You cannot make an excuse for him. Now, it doesn't matter. The New York Knicks are 3 wins away from history. They could be 1 game away from history. And they lose. Oh, that's going to be even beautiful. I would love that moment. I want the Knicks to get within 1 game. I want them to be 1 win away. And then they lose. 1 win away from making history, and they go down in flames. Oh, that is Nirvana, baby. I will watch y'all scatter like roaches. Y'all gonna run to every corner of the earth. Y'all gonna go, Now it's all going to be very clear. Y'all going to be done. There's nowhere to run and hide. If Michael Jordan, right, who James Dolan likes because he made a lot of money when Jordan played. Every time the Knicks played the Bulls, box office for Dolan. He making money hand over fist. So, of course, he going to like Michael Jordan there. He going to like everybody there. But now, you got a different demon on your head. Yeah. Now you got to deal with the force. You got to deal with a whole new factor that these people don't even care. Mm-hmm. The world has not seen people take responsibility. Like, no one's going to stand up for anybody. No one is standing up for Charles Oakley. Spike Lee. They were about to bar Spike Lee from the damn stadium. That's when people were like, hey, they doing too much. The Garden security, they were like, they weren't going to let Spike in no more. It was getting wild. Absolutely wild. And if they let the Knicks beat the Spurs, I'm going to be so pissed off. Because that's not reality. That is the ultimate deception. Because they want to sell you this in-season tournament. See, that's the whole kicker in this whole thing is we got to sell the in-season tournament. They never give you a reason for it, but you got to sell it. Like, well, I don't understand it. Why are we selling the in-season tournament for? To whom and why? Mm-hmm. They always do that. They always want to show their power. They don't understand the process of why these elements take place, why these developments keep happening. And everyone around is glamorizing something that just doesn't make any sense. Really? Y'all don't think of it as that big of a deal. Well, that's the difference. I think of things in its totality. I put things in their right perspective. I feel that if you're going to talk about a movement or move towards something that's greater or have a staple into something, I feel that if you want to achieve those goals, you got to put those qualities into play. There's nothing out there that tells me that this person cannot perform at the level that needs to be performed at. Well, we take things very seriously where we are, and when people start to understand the process of what you're all about and the secessions, then they'll understand it better. Yeah, that's the big problem. I don't really care. That's the problem. I don't really care about the New York Knicks. I'm saying you as Knicks fans, why don't you care? Oh, we in the NBA final. Now we got to worry about Charles Oakley. You like, forget Charles Oakley. He the past, bro. Y'all are a weird fan base. I mean, really, you are so undeserving of any of this because y'all fan base is terrible. Y'all absolutely are terrible people, terrible fans. Y'all really are. Y'all have no morals, no compass, none of you guys. That's because most of you don't even see it. It's right before your eyes and you don't see it. I know I've seen it many a times. You know, we've said it like 1,000 different ways too. We said, hey, if we're gonna do something, man, let's do it the right way. Because if we do it the wrong way, this is the way it's gonna be. Our representation. Do you think Detroit Pistons would let Isaiah Thomas be disrespected inside of our stadium? No. It ain't gonna be, well, this team going to the finals. Piston fans are not gonna allow Isaiah Thomas to be disrespected in that stadium. Piston fans are not going to allow Bill Laimbeer to be disrespected in this stadium. They're not going to allow Ben Wallace to be disrespected in this stadium. You know why that is? Do you know how many Piston players have jobs and have been given jobs in the organization for that? James Dolan wasn't hiring any New York Knicks for any jobs. He only did that when he was getting bad press. He was paying guys to sit on the sideline and watch the games and support the Knicks, giving Latrell Sprewell checks because he went flat broke. Now, that's the question you need to ask all of those people out there. Why, oh, why, oh, why are we not doing what we're supposed to do? Why are we playing this game where it's okay and it's cool to let certain people just disrespect? Y'all just let Charles Oakley and James Dolan and all these people just talk mad about old Charles Oakley. And y'all supposed to be Knicks fans. Y'all didn't step up to Dolan. But what do I expect from a fan base who wanted to fire Mike Brown? And when they were down 2-1, that means you, LB. That means all of y'all Knicks fans was calling for blood. Nobody said relax. Everybody was calling for blood. Then all of a sudden, here comes the change. No, we need Giannis. We need Giannis, bro. If we had Giannis, that's what we need. We need Giannis. If we had Giannis, then we'll get stuff done. See, we need Giannis. Fire Mike Brown, get Cat up out of here, and we need Giannis. Ain't that what y'all said? I remember when you said it. Y'all wanted Giannis. And I said, all right, cool. Y'all want Giannis. I didn't get in y'all way. That's what y'all wanted. Y'all was screaming for blood. Mikal Bridges gotta go. How many times is this man gonna have 0 points? This time he had what? 9? I'm like, at least he gave you 9 this time. Still ain't good enough. Now you done won 12. You won 1 series, and then you was talking about we going to the finals. Duh. Who told y'all back in November, September, at the beginning of the year that they were going to put the New York Knicks in the NBA Finals? Me. Who didn't want to see that happen? Me. I told you the script, and here we are. They was like, but you ain't say San Antonio. No, I did not. But the agenda was the New York Knicks. LeBron is up out of here. Now we got to get the Knicks out of here. I don't like propaganda. I don't like to see it. I don't want it around me. Get rid of this false propaganda, this nonsense that we don't need in the industry. That's the problem. We have to stop this narrative of believing that people want to see this shit. They don't. How do you get your ex back? How did you lose her? That's the problem. I said the first and the finals against OKC. But injuries happen, so that makes everything get altered. It changes the outset. The script changes. Injuries. So I said the Lakers versus OKC in the Western Conference Finals. I had the Pistons versus the Knicks in the Eastern Conference Finals. And I said they were going to have to cheat us out of it. And they put the Cavs. And I said they want the Knicks and the Lakers. But barring injury, things will change. Luka was out. So the Lakers was out. So it became OKC. Then OKC lost J-Dub and AJ Mitchell. So the injuries got them out. So now San Antonio is in the picture. You get it? Injury dictates. If Brunson would have got hurt, the Knicks wouldn't be in it. They would have to change the agenda. Why is that so hard for people to understand? Listen, I've seen people come a long way. I can stand up here like Colonel De Beers. Tell it to you straight. You guys are poor representation of this nation. Now, I've been a good C-No. And I've been telling you guys for a long time. I'm going to line Brunson head up. Bah! Knock that potato head to the moon. But no, it's more than that. You have to understand one or two things. The buck stops here. No more corruption. No one wants to see it. I'm fighting for the purity of the game. That's my approach. I'm fighting for you. I want you to win. I'm fighting for the purity of basketball. That's what I'm doing. I showed the Knicks fans last night that this thing was rigged, and they laughed like it was the biggest joke they ever heard in their life. Magnet ball! I'm like, read the damn thing. Read it. It's in front of you. I didn't write that. That's a government patent. The patent is telling them there's a magnet ball, and these dummies are still sitting there saying the same dumb shit. The next video they do, they gonna still be asking me to prove it. Did y'all see that shit last night? I had to get off the line. I like, let them have the line. I'm going out to get I'm going to get a drink. I went to get a drink. I said, I can't listen to no more of this dumb shit. When you got evidence in front of you, you're reading it, and you still gonna say the same dumbass thing you said before. That explains to me why you root for the goddamn Knicks. And then looking at me like I'm crazy. Y'all like Gilbert Arenas over there talking about Utah. What is Utah then? It's a state. Utah is not the city. Then what is it then? Jesus Christ. And this is what's wrong with society today. So now, everyone out here is caught in what we call the flux. Y'all believe the lies. So people like James Dolan, who has been a bad owner, he's been reputationally defined as a bad owner. He's a bad man. So if this bad man is doing these activities, why there hasn't been any changing? This bad owner has been doing all of these things. Why haven't there been any changes? He's such a bad owner, right? I just try to tell people the reality.
So much going on. Everybody and their uncle wants to go to the Knicks, rooting the Knicks on. The Knicks are one of the rare teams in New York, Rob G, and I don't know if you really know this.
Listen to this wise.
But most of the time in a big city like that, teams are split, right? You're either a Mets fan or a Yankees fan. You're either a Jets fan or a Giants fan. You're either a Ranger fan or an Islander fan. But the one fan base in New York that really never had competition until recently, till the Brooklyn Nets showed up. But for most people's lives in New York, everybody was Knick crazy and followed the Knicks, right? They were the only one that had the city to themselves.
And even for anyone who says that the Nets have any kind of stranglehold is lying to themselves. I think we can agree.
No, it's not. I mean, it's now with the younger people who are just growing up, you know what I mean? Like there's a chance because they grew up in Brooklyn, they got to go to games and stuff like that. But you're right. There's no stranglehold. The Knicks are the only New York franchise that has, carte blanche per se. Even Trump wants to come to a game now. Of course, Trump was born in New York and the whole 9 yards.
Rob Parker wants to go to a game. Calvin Washington wants to go to a game. Everybody's rooting for the Knicks, Rob.
Go New York, go New York, go.
And, one of the things that came, obviously we're going to get to the Western Conference here in an hour or two, big game 6 coming up here in about an hour and a half. But the Knicks are already there in the finals. They are waiting their opponent. They're just sitting patiently like, who's going to challenge the greatest team in NBA history? And one of the interesting things that came out after their sweep of the Cleveland Cavaliers was not just that they snapped their drought, not just that they've been running roughshod through the Eastern Conference. It's that after the game, Jalen Brunson was talking about his team. And one of the things that he said that he took the most pride in is the winning culture they have there with the Knicks. And he said that it, quote, starts with Mr. Dolan. Rob, do you agree?
And I could not disagree more. In fact, I'm not going to be the only one, but there'll be others. And I get it. New York is in an uproar in a good way, a frenzy. First time in 27 years they have a team in the NBA. I get all that, and fans might not care that much, Kelvin, but James Dolan is a reason not to root for the Knicks from the standpoint that you don't want to see a bad guy, bad owner for most of his career there owning the team win. Yep. And I think that there's something about that. And I'll never forget, I don't care what anybody says, the way that James Dolan treated Charles Oakley, who was a guy that I covered when I was a Knick beat writer back in the 90s. I saw that guy dive into more crowds, more scorers tables, to get loose balls, to do whatever he could to win. Everybody always said it was a shame that Patrick Ewing never won a championship. I'll tell you, it's a shame that Charles Oakley never won a championship. Nobody that I ever covered or saw in the NBA played as hard and gave of themselves more than Charles Oakley. And James Dolan, with his ego in the way, instead of looking at Charles Oakley as a fan favorite and trying to work out their differences, had Charles Oakley thrown out of Madison Square Garden, thrown out like a bum, like he didn't matter. And I can never forget that and never look at James Dolan again and think to myself, there's a great owner. That'll be great to see James Dolan holding up the Larry O'Brien trophy and smiling and drinking champagne and smoking a cigar and talking about how great it is. And the other part is the Knicks have been bad for a long time, and he's been at the helm of it. And yes, things have turned around. They're in the finals. I guess for most fans, it's all going to be forgotten. You know, they're just happy and schmappy and all that because the Knicks are in the finals. I'm not one to quickly forget. I am on the record. I do not want to see James Dolan, the owner of the Knicks, win an NBA championship. He doesn't deserve it. He's been a bad owner, a bad guy to fans, had fans thrown out, and had one of the all-time fan favorites in Charles Oakley thrown out of Madison Square Garden like a bum. And I can't unsee that.
Well, let me just add.
Now, there we go. I can't unsee that. How is that man a Knicks hater? That man is from New York. He was a beat writer in New York for the New York Knicks. Rob Parker was y'all beat writer. He covered the Knicks in the 90s. And look at this so-called true Knicks fan. No, you're a true Gen Z. That's what you are. You're a true Gen Z. And that's what I'm saying. If I got to pick between the Knicks and the Spurs, it will be the Spurs. I don't like Wimpy either because he plays stupid to me. He plays a really stupid game of basketball. He should be dominating. He should be having 20 and 20 every night. There's no reason why he shouldn't. But he believes he's a guard. And so somebody should tell him, dog, he's 7'6". I know, and I'm sitting there showing him that was a kick ball. It's obvious. You can see it's a kick ball. But the Spurs will correct everything that they did wrong in game one, and they will trample the New York Knicks in game 2. Game 3, when is game 3? Monday? No, it'll be on Sunday. So game 3 be 1-1 going to New York on Sunday. Madison Square Garden on a Sunday. Now, some will have to give. Because that's going to be the day reality hits home. Fast. Yeah, the Knicks fans seem to believe that, they got this when they get to the crib. No, I don't think it'll be a question. San Antonio's not going to leave any doubt on the floor. I think they're going to teach the Knicks a lesson and show them there's a difference between the two. Wemby's going to have a big game. It's going to be very impressive. So I'm fired up right now. I'm nice and mad. So let me go ahead and take that on, and I'll holler at y'all later. Thanks for hitting the like button, supporting the page, and we'll talk tomorrow. I'm fired up.